Eddie Hearn is kind enough to join us before the holidays to talk about what transpired on Friday night in Miami at the Kaseya Center. Do we have Eddie?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Eddie. Where is he? I don't see him.
Yeah.
Okay, there he is. Sorry about that. Hello, Eddie. How are you? I didn't see you there, so I apologize. How are you? Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No problem. No problem, my friend. No problem. As always.
Back home from Miami?
Back home from Miami. I'm just actually in the car at the moment doing a bit of Christmas shopping. Because we've only got a few days before we have to head to Saudi later in the week for the NY card, which we're promoting in Riyadh. So, yeah, a very, very short time in the UK and then off again for what will end an incredible year.
And there it is. The great Naoya Inoue fighting Alan Picasso, and I will ask you about that in a moment. By the way, you could have just got, your loved ones some of the new Matchroom merch that I saw you guys came out with. That would have been an easy present, no? I saw you modeling that.
You know what? I actually gave my daughter a hoodie.
There it is.
This morning. It wasn't her full Christmas present, just one of, but look at that. What a handsome guy there. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're shifting so much product at the moment. Look at that guy.
I can understand.
Wow.
I can understand. Very easy question to answer, very easy question to ask off the top. And I'll ask you the same one that I asked AJ. What did you make of that fight? What are your impressions of that fight?
I mean, I thought it was much better than I thought it would be. I mean, I know that people are going to say, well, Jake was running and Jake was hold. But listen, I mean, at the end of the day, Jake had one job, and that was to try and survive. I mean, he was never, ever going to win the fight, ever, ever. And if you would have said to me, do I think he'll go 6 rounds? I would have said absolutely not. I mean, I felt that it would take AJ a couple of rounds to get hold of him because I knew Jake can move a bit and he'd be moving off the back foot and he'd be holding. But it was the way that he did it, I think, was actually quite impressive. Like, not that particular part, but the way that he would, the way that he was strong in the clinch. He wouldn't let AJ get his shots off in the clinch. He made him miss a few times. And obviously, AJ's been out of the ring for a while. But to be honest, I think the most fascinating thing of the whole night in terms of the fight was how he didn't get flatlined by that right hand. I mean, I said going into the fight, it's probably going to take AJ a few rounds to get hold of him. And I also said, as soon as he lands clean, the fight's over, right? He landed a few before, but the first that he landed really clean was the final shot. But, he never flatlined Jake. I mean, he did break his jaw in 2 places, which is a disaster. But there are a lot of heavyweights that would have been out cold from that right hand. I mean, one of them was Francis Ngannou. A pretty similar shot, really. Do you know what I mean? So I actually give Jake unbelievable credit for doing it in the first place, but his performance as well. I mean, I stand by the fact that I think he's just a decent cruiserweight, but he did go in with Anthony Joshua, and look, the world is full of criticism and opinions and negativity. Who else is doing what he's doing at what is he, late 20s? I mean, quite phenomenal. I mean, the guy's a complete madman. I'm watching him come out to that ring walk, and he's just an incredible entertainer. And I'm sort of standing in the ring going, is he for real? And he did all right. I mean, I know people will talk about the holding, but his job was to survive, and he survived for nearly 6 complete rounds.
By the way,
he's remarkable.
You just referred to him as a decent cruiserweight, so I'm wondering, has he officially graduated? We all remember that face-to-face many, many moons ago. I was in the middle. You called him an average fighter, right?
Yeah,
he was very offended.
Definitely graduated.
Okay.
Yeah, I did say it before in the build-up to that fight. I said I used to think he was an average fighter. Now I just think he's a decent cruiserweight. In my opinion, nowhere near world class. But how many are? I mean, he's obviously got a really decent chin. Maybe not anymore, but he did have a decent chin because the shots that he stood up to and the final shot, he was conscious. He was trying to get up. Do you know what I mean? So I said before, he's dedicated himself to the sport. He's having serious training camps. He's got the best facilities. He's got the best training. He's got good sparring. So he's definitely improved. And, it's probably a mixture of a little bit of rust from AJ, just, and the fact that he wasn't overly rushing. Could he got him out of there sooner? Maybe. But he was never going to go in. I said that before the fight and just start swinging away, throwing 100 punches around. So I actually quite like the fact that we got some rounds because got a chance to work with a new team. And all in all, it was a wonderful experience for us. I mean, AJ made a fortune. His star power in the US has gone through the roof. I mean, if you take any notice the internet right now, I mean, he's just become like an icon, especially amongst the ladies, which he's been an icon over here amongst the ladies for many decades, but now in the US as well. And people are kind of coming across him for the first time, which is quite strange when I see that on social media, you know, because obviously from here, he's one of the most recognizable figures in sport. So yeah, wonderful experience. It ticks every box, right? Profile, money, activity. And it couldn't have gone better for us.
Okay, so there's a lot I actually want to ask you about what you just said, but I was just talking about that, how I've been watching AJ since the Olympics, have admired, I think I watched every single one of his pro fights. It's an honor to work his fights, and to see online Americans and American women almost stumble on him like they just found it, like he's a rookie.
Who's this guy? Yeah, I know.
Who's this Greek god? Who's this? Oh my, they're like infatuated with him. Does that, obviously it makes you chuckle because you've known him for so long, but does that change any sort of future plans for him? Like, hey, we need to bring him back to America. There's something there.
I mean, look, I think obviously the American sort of strategy took a big blow in the Andy Ruiz fight. And I think if we would have won that fight, I think we would have returned several times since. Obviously, the size of the audience on Friday, and also, you know, we've even seen it on a much smaller level with our documentary. It's a different audience. Right, it's not boxing. Even every American boxing fan knows who Anthony. These aren't boxing fans that are suddenly going, "Oh, who's this guy?" These are just casual fans across various different demographics who don't really know a lot about boxing and have come across this guy who speaks so well, who looks like he's carved out of stone, and it's like, wow. And the answer to your question, yes. I mean, it's all day I've been thinking about our US strategy and how we can capitalize on this. This changes everything. You know, people don't like it when I say that AJ was already arguably the biggest star in boxing. Now, by far the biggest star in boxing. Right now, there is absolutely no question that Anthony Joshua is the biggest star in world boxing, right? But how does that strategy change moving forward, particularly in the American market? Because, you know, I know, and you know how personable he is, how likable he is. You know, his brand has just been so easy to build, obviously, with all his attributes over the years. And we can do the same thing in America, and it's a big market. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks.
When you were watching that fight and it's ticking away, second round, third round, fourth round, and Jake, he's not landing a bunch, but there are a couple moments, you know, a double jab here, an over right hand there. Are you thinking like, holy shit, man, please, please, please? Is there any moment at all, can you tell us in the aftermath, where you're like a little bit nervous, just a little bit, thinking of the worst?
No. I mean, I knew there was no way he could lose, but it was just the nerves were more like, oh, hurry up, we need to grab hold of him here and cut him off. And, you know, he was moving so quickly around the ring. It's very difficult to cut a fighter off like that. So AJ was really patient. Like, he almost had a go at me after I got in the ring after. I was like, well done, mate. He said, stop rushing me. I'm like, I know, but I just wanted it over with, you know, and done. And the more rounds it went, I felt like, you know, the more kind of detrimental it would be to him in the end because of the way it finished. I mean, that's what everybody's talking about. That's the virality of it, is the, you know, the double broken jaw and the huge right hand. And you know, Jake playing along after with all his, you know, his social stuff. And no, I mean, never worried, only worried about how long it would take. And I thought it would be inside 3 rounds. I did, you know, but Jake was smart. He was smart in there.
I'll ask you this question, not because I believe the question, but just for the record, just so you can say it. Was there any discussion, any agreement about, hey, you need to get the fight into this round, you need to carry him for X amount of rounds, you need to do your part to get it into the 5th, 6th, or whatever?
Absolutely no way ever. I mean, if you look at a couple of the right hands that AJ missed with in the first couple of rounds, like, they would have done the same job on Jake's jaw if they would have landed. And Jake did very well to avoid them. So I always said going into the fight, AJ's not the kind of guy that's going to come out like a train, just start swinging away. He's going to take his time, and that's what he did. You know, the fight definitely went a few more rounds than anticipated from Anthony, but it's like, even now, it's like, yeah, it was definitely a fix. Some guy commented today on one of my posts, yeah, it was definitely a fix. I go, you do know that he's broken his jaw in 2 places. Like, he may never be able to fight again. People aren't really talking about this. People just think, oh, you just get your jaw wired, bolted together by a couple of screws, and on you go. There have been many fighters who have had their jaws broken that never boxed again. And they're like, yeah, oh, no, that might have been real, that bit. But the other stuff, it's like, we're not actors here, you know? Like, it was 100% real. There was never any strategy, any deal, any script. AJ wanted to land clean as soon as possible. Unfortunately, the only time he landed really clean was in the 6th round. And unfortunately, that happened to Jake. We didn't want that to happen to Jake. You know, ultimately, we wanted to win and get it over with. But that's the dangers that he took and the risk that he was in the fight. And, you know, we hope he can heal up.
What do you make of Jake's stock at the moment? My theory is it actually went up in defeat because of how he took that last punch. Showman smiled, broke his jaw, but didn't, make any excuses afterwards. Some say I didn't like the performance. He was hanging on. He was going for takedowns. He looked like he was scared. What do you make of it? Well, is there a market to see him fight after this?
No, I think his stock went up. You know, again, going back to the negativity of people, it drives me wild. Like, how can you not give him credit and respect for what he did? Like, we've all moaned the community, haven't we, for years and years? Oh, you've never fought a real fighter. When are you going to fight a real fighter? He fought Anthony Joshua. I mean, he was literally 50 levels out of his league, right? And it was a complete mismatch. It was always a mismatch. I never marketed it as anything else. But it was a spectacle. And it was quirky and it was weird. And, and look at the way he walks out with, the rappers and I mean, these guys, they're entertainers, and there is an element of WWE to it. That walkout with Logan and the music and Jake, that was WWE. He's dressed as Hulk Hogan, for God's sake, right? But everyone's talking about it. And, whilst I am boxing through and through, it's my absolute life. And I love the sport. This is a guy that is dedicated to that. For me, wasn't a YouTuber. That was a professional boxer that has a massive following and a huge platform. He's just not world class. That's just my opinion. But he's improved a hell of a lot, and he's earned the right to be a professional fighter. He just so happens to be very smart, have a huge following, and be able to. I mean, look at the money that was generated in the fight from Netflix and the gate and the sponsorship. Look at the brands that are on the ropes that you never see. Right? How can this not be a good thing for boxing? This isn't misfits. This isn't, and those guys do their own thing and it's cool as well. But that was professional boxing. There was just a huge gulf in levels. But like I said, for us, it couldn't have gone better.
If you were his promoter, would you tell him, okay, enough is enough. You broke your jaw. You're worth millions of dollars, multi-millions. That would be it? Or would you like to see him fight again if you were his promoter?
I think you have to see how he comes back. Like I said, that injury is a very serious injury. Like, you can come back from it. Jai Opetaia broke his jaw. Conor Benn broke his jaw in sparring. There's been loads of fights, but there's also been a lot of fighters that haven't come back from it. I think the next step's really important now for Jake. Like, he's made a lot of money, and when you get injured like that, you should look at the fights that you come back into. Like, do you want to? I think he'll be out for close to a year. I mean, that's around the rough kind of time when you break your jaw. 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. So it's got a long time to recover and decide what he's going to do. But MVP's not just Jake Paul. They've got a big roster of fighters now, and they do. I enjoyed working with them. We've had that. I put a post out today thanking MVP and Nikisa, and he messaged me saying, "Look, thanks for the." And I'm real. If we're treated well, you have no problem with me. And I will be honest, and I will tell people you've treated me well. It's not, and there's loads of shows that I go to where we get treated like shit still. And Friday wasn't one of them. We enjoyed working with their team. I thought they'd done a great job. And, we will sit down, myself and Nikisa, in January, and we'll talk business. Loads of business to do together.
What else?
Well, look, he's got a huge roster of female fighters. You know, and when you look at the crossover fights that can happen between the stables, you know, they've got fighters at 140, 147. We've got Sandy Ryan. You've got Sky Nicholson, is now mandatory for Ellie Scottney in the Undisputed Championship. You've got Elif Turhan, who I believe beats their whole roster at 130 and 135. She's a world champion in Caroline Dubois' weight class as well. So yeah, obviously Katie Taylor. I mean, we got loads of female fighters. So that, and who knows what other business can be done together.
This 92 million number has been thrown around. Is there any validity to that?
92, what's that? The new 6-7?
No. Saying that they both made 92 million each for this fight. I've seen this number and it seems quite high.
No, I'm not gonna talk about the purses, but they both did very well. It wasn't a career high payday for AJ, but it was one of his substantial paydays.
Okay. There has been talk about February. What could you tell us about February and the Rico Verhoeven talk? I'll be honest, that's what I'm hearing. That's what other people are saying as well. Rico in February. What can you tell us about this?
So we are moving forward, obviously, with our plan now with His Excellency. That would be a fight in February, March, and then hopefully to fight Tyson Fury. So I will plan to sit down with His Excellency when I get to Saudi later this week. February the 14th, which is a proposed date. My gut feeling, and we'll talk to the doctors and the team over the next 48 hours, it's 7 weeks this Saturday. Obviously, we've just done, and some people go, well, that was an easy fight you just had. AJ's just done 8 or 9 weeks in camp, right? He's going to come home and see his family for Christmas. So there is a chance we'll try and push that into sort of middle end of March. Rico is a fight that has been mentioned by certain people. I mean, we're straightforward. I mean, ultimately, we'll field offers. We could do with a fight that's going to prepare us for Tyson Fury. It's quite a difficult thing to do style-wise. So we might look at other opponents as well. But, we're open at the moment. We're in a wonderful position. Obviously, we'll talk with DAZN because DAZN were one of the principal reasons why that fight took place. Without their blessing, we would never have got it over the line. So AJ remains exclusive with them, and we'll talk about a plan. But, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately for AJ because he's in a wonderful position, but those conversations will start quite quickly. And that's always a difficult thing to do because the fighter normally just wants to chill out for a week or two. But we're red hot right now. We've got offers coming in left, right, and centre, and we got to do business.
Why not just do the Fury fight next? Why tempt fate?
Because Fury's going to fight, right? So he's going to fight in April. So we don't want to sit out till September.
Why not scrap that fight? Why not try to come together and say, let's do Fury AJ in April?
We do that. I don't mind doing that, but I don't think Tyson Fury will take the fight straight off the bat. As I understand it, he wants to fight, and probably will feel, even though it was Jake Paul that we fought, we don't have to fight. We don't necessarily need another fight before Tyson Fury, but we're not going to wait till September because right now, AJ's message to me was, I want to get back to work. Let me have this week, and then I want to go back to Spain, go with Team Usyk, keep learning. Don't forget that was his first fight with completely new people, with a completely new team. And he loves working with those guys, and I think he's going to get better and better and better with them. So we're happy to fight, but happy also to go into the Tyson Fury fight. To be honest with Ariel, anything could happen. But, we've told His Excellency we're in for that fight. So, we'll get with him and, focus on those finer details and then get the plan together for 2026.
Do you like the idea of the Rico fight for him?
I mean, I understand it, I don't think it necessarily prepares him style-wise for Tyson Fury, but, Rico's a pretty dangerous guy. I mean, he's a big man. He can punch. Like, he's probably going to be a little bit unorthodox. But, just a name on a big pool of fighters. I think there's part of what you said is very much correct. We don't want to, if we sign in to fight Tyson Fury at the same time, the risk element, you got to weigh it up because we're there. We don't want to lose it on the line like Deontay Wilder getting beat and we lost that fight, when that was supposed to be announced in the ring. So I don't know a lot about him, to be honest with you. It's just a name that's been mentioned over the last week or so, and particularly like the journalists seem to have run with it, I think prematurely. But we'll see.
Okay, I want to let you go in a moment, but I'll hit you with some quick ones if I can. Are you and Shakur back together? I know you're promoting this show on January 31st. Are you his promoter now, or is it just because you are the principal promoter for the event?
I mean, I guess contractually, no. But once we were all moving forward with the show, so, you know, I think if you asked us the question, are we working together? I think the answer is yes. Do I have a contract with him? No, I don't.
Okay.
I have a contract to promote the ring show on January 31st in Madison Square Garden, as I do in Riyadh this week, and as I do on some others moving forward. So that's an honor for me to do that. And that was the focus, to be honest with you. I never went to Shakur and went, you know, I'm promoting the show. You need to sign with me, or, you know, it's just, we know what we're doing for this fight. We'll talk after the fight. I'm in his corner 1,000,000%. He's my guy. I'm Team Shakur, right? Love Tio, but I'm Team Shakur. And our principal focus is to deliver a historic event with Ring Magazine and Turki Al Sheikh at Madison Square Garden on January 31st. That's what we're doing. We're finalising the undercard at the moment with His Excellency. There'll be an announcement soon, and it'll be a huge event.
Has there been any talk of Katie versus Ronda Rousey?
Not from me, no. I believe that, you know, Brian is always going to chat away to people, and, you know, I can't tell you there hasn't been a conversation between, I don't know, manager to manager, but nothing with any legs at the moment, and nothing in the pipeline at all.
I feel like if Holly Holm wins January 3rd, that would be a huge fight in Ireland. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think that could be a fight. I mean, Holly Holm's a very good fighter. She has a very tough fight against Han. You know, that's not going to be an easy fight. But I think if she was to win that fight, become world champion, then I think Katie Taylor against Holly Holm could have some legs. And there's another one, MVP, you know, as we talked about earlier.
Yes, that's what I was referring to. Holly versus Katie in Ireland, I think would be gigantic stuff. A couple of weeks ago, Nick Khan of TKO was doing a lot of media ahead of their congressional hearing. And I don't know how much you paid attention to any of this stuff, but there were a couple of interviews where he was like, what's the British gentleman's name? Edward Hearn, stuff like that. He knows who you are. When you hear that stuff, do you laugh? Do you chuckle? How do you take that?
It makes me feel great, because why would you do that? I mean, you know, like, if you don't know who I am, you're banging trouble in boxing. And of course you know who I am. But obviously there's got to be a reason for doing that. You know, and the reason for me, most respectfully as I could say, because he won't, you know, these guys are very, very bullish, is almost mild fear. Right? They know I'm a problem. And because they know how good I am. You see? And they are very bullish. They're like me, they're arrogant. And they think they're going to come in and dominate boxing. But it's not going to happen. And haven't they got a show on January 23rd? That's their first show, right?
Yeah, what are you hearing about it?
I mean, it's a month away. So, I mean, I have no idea. You got to come out the blocks with a bang. You can't come out with something lame. What are you going to do? Do a show in the Apex to launch TKO boxing? It's got to be a monster. And I just, with 4 weeks to go, how much of a monster can it be? So, you know, as I've said before, these guys that we're up against, and I say up against, I mean, I want to be up against them. Whether we are product-wise, we'll see very soon. But they're very good. They're very smart. They're very connected. And you know, boxing's boxing. It just, I can't explain it. But if they come out weak on January 23rd, they are going to get, because everybody's waiting, right, to give them an absolute shellacking. They are, though, aren't they? I mean, they so many people in boxing want them to fail. And I don't think they will fail. But if they get it wrong and it stinks the place out in January, like, the worst thing they could do is come out with something poor. So a rushed, poor product because they don't actually understand boxing at all. And I'm intrigued because, as I said, these are smart guys. But where we are positioned right now, Matchroom, I mean, coming off that win with Anthony Joshua, you know, our TV contracts, our stable, our brand identity globally, our schedule that's already lined up now till the end of the year, which what we've just come off as well, and January and February. We are absolutely cooking on gas. 2026, we are going to smash it. Smash it. Bet on Matchroom. We are going to be unbeatable in the space.
Two quick ones to round out. Terence Crawford, true or false? He fights again.
True.
You don't believe any of this?
I do believe it. I just think he'll fight. I just know, like, he loves it, and he's such a competitor, and he loves a dollar bill, loves it. And I think sometimes you can make that play. I don't know. I mean, look, he could have injuries. It could be a contractual play, or he could just have had enough. I mean, that's more than reasonable. But if you ask my gut feeling, you'll see him in the ring again.
And last one, the last time you were in studio, you hinted at some MMA ventures potentially for you. Is there anything more you can tell us about your interest in mixed
listen,
martial arts?
only that I've been approached to look at something, and something substantial. But, you know, again, like I say, I can't tell you that I can just go into the MMA space and just blow it out the park. It's something you have to have a passion for. It's something you have to have a deep knowledge for. And like I said, reversing the roles, that's why these guys, they can't sit up there and talk boxing. They don't know that they're commercial smart. They're outstanding marketeers. They just don't know boxing. And it's not something you can just go, we're going to do boxing, and we're going to do a new ring and change the color of the canvas, and, you know, we're going to do this league. It just don't. This is a historic sport that stems centuries of legacy and victory and defeat and narrative and storytelling. And yeah, don't fuck around with it.
Appreciate you, Eddie. Thank you so much. Happy holidays. Sorry for taking you away from the shopping.
That's all right. Back to shopping. All right.
Great to talk to you. Thank you so much. All the best, and good luck this weekend as well. There he is, the man, Eddie Hearn, the CEO of Matchroom Boxing, off to Riyadh for the Naoya Inoue card. That's really the last big show as far as combat sports are concerned, and that is this weekend on DAZN. We showed you the poster against Alan Picasso's. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.